I want to welcome you to our webinar. Today we are going to explore resources for adult educators working with learners with disabilities, Part 1. Let's look a little bit at Links. Links is a one-stop location where you can find lots of high-quality resources for adult education teachers, and these are all free resources, easy to access. This slide lists the 4 components of Links. One component is the resource collection, which is reviewed and with input from subject matter experts. There's an online community of practice, and this community of practice has 16 topic areas, which match the topic areas in the resource collection. There's also a learning portal that has online courses, as well as their professional development centers that provide face-to-face professional development. This slide lists the 6 ways you can stay in touch with Links. And again, there's many resources and they're free for your access. Links is constantly updated, and so it's a place to check often to see the new resources that are available to you. All right, let's look at our webinar today. The purpose of this webinar is to introduce you to a set of resources that can support adult educators in your work with individuals with disabilities. These resources are connected to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, known as WIOA. We will briefly review the connection between WIOA and adult education. The resources I'm going to share with you are in the format of playlists. Playlists are a fairly recent format for exploratory learning. In a minute, I'll explain how playlists work. After this introductory webinar, you may want to explore the WIOA Disability Playlists. You can do this by accessing 2 other webinars which examine specific playlists and resources, or based on the information from this webinar, you may want to explore the playlists on your own. 1 or more disabilities affect about 20% of our population. A disability is a condition of the body or mind that makes it difficult for the person with the condition to do certain activities and interact with the world around them. Some of these disabilities are apparent and easy to identify, such as visual impairments and physical disabilities, such as cerebral palsy. Others are less apparent or hidden. Disabilities such as learning disabilities, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and autism spectrum disorders may not be apparent until students are presented with learning activities. In addition, a person can have a combination of disabilities known as co-occurring disabilities. For example, a person with cerebral palsy can also have learning disabilities, or a person with attention deficit can also be managing other mental health challenges such as depression. Some disabilities are present at birth. Some are acquired as a result of accidents or illnesses. Either way, as educators, we are working with a broad range of learners, and we can expect that a certain percentage may have disabilities. Disabilities can be apparent because they affect physical functioning. They can also be hidden and become evident as learning and emotional challenges. Disabilities affect the individuals involved as well as their families. When we think of developing our sensitivity to working with individuals with disabilities, we are also affecting their families. Unfortunately, while many individuals with disabilities are highly educated and successful, others struggle in school. This brings many individuals with disabilities to adult education as a way to gain a high school credential and prepare for gainful employment. Others may become disabled, and at times this brings them back to adult education programs. A recent survey indicates some specific findings. Among all educational attainment groups, unemployment rates were higher for persons with a disability than for those without. Persons with a disability are less likely to have completed a bachelor's degree or higher than those with no disability. Across all levels of education, persons with a disability were much more likely to be employed than were their counterparts without a disability. 32% of workers with a disability were employed part-time compared to 18% for those without a disability. Persons with a disability were more heavily concentrated in service occupations and less likely to work in management, professional, and related occupations. The jobless rate was noticeably higher for minorities with a disability than among whites and Asians. Given this context, let's see how the WIOA Disability Playlist can be a resource for adult educators. The stimulus for the playlist is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which was signed into law in 2014. It revises and reforms the primary federal programs that support employment services, workforce development, adult education, and vocational rehabilitation services. It is the first major reform to federal job training programs in more than 15 years. WIOA aims to increase opportunities for individuals looking for work or employment advancement. It includes adult education in its provisions. Let's look at some WIOA provisions. One of the major goals of WIOA is to increase opportunities for youth and adults to access education, training, and support services aimed at gainful employment. This makes adult education an important partner in WIOA implementation. WIOA supports and encourages collaboration across workforce, economic development, and education programs to better address employment needs of both job seekers and employers. This collaboration means that education programs understand employer needs and target developing the skill sets that employers identify. Increased collaboration with employers is an important goal of this law. Under WIOA, adult education is part of integrated education and training. This means that adult education and literacy activities should be offered concurrently with workforce preparation and workforce training. Again, we see the importance of collaboration that is focused on preparation for gainful employment. This includes developing financial literacy and structuring education to move learners along career pathways. One aim of the collaborations outlined in WIOA is to improve services to individuals who may face challenges in attaining skilled employment. Individuals with disabilities are specifically named by the law. WIOA increases resources to support individuals with disabilities' access to high-quality education and workforce services. The goal is preparation for competitive employment. Now that we have briefly reviewed WIOA as a law that guides adult education, let's consider how WIOA-focused disability playlists are structured. What is a resource playlist? The origin of playlists comes from music sharing. Playlists provide a format and structure for sharing music from a lot of different resources. Most playlists start with a purpose. Is it a set of songs to help you work out, or are you having a party and want folks to dance? Knowing the purpose and audience for the playlist is an important starting point. For us, the playlists we are exploring today provide resources and foundational information on working with learners with disabilities. This series of webinars are specifically tailored to resources relevant to adult educators. Playlists also benefit from following themes. A workout playlist may start with warm-up songs and then move to a faster pace. A dance party playlist should probably be a mix of fast and slow songs. Following this format, our playlists are organized by themes or chunks or subtopics, which can be explored in any order, something like a tasting menu. Finally, music playlists often include a variety of genres or artists such as hip-hop, rhythm and blues, and classic rock. Our workout playlist may include listening to Beyonce, followed by Mick Jagger. The disability playlists we will explore come from many different sources and have a mix of genres. Instead of hip-hop and R&B, the genres include websites, web pages, PDFs, and videos. Just as music playlists have changed the way we explore, share, and listen to music, learning playlists can help us get into a new way of learning. The WIOA disability playlists are organized into 10 topic areas displayed on this slide. An extensive array of multimedia federal and federally funded resources were curated into 10 topics relevant to employers and service providers. Input and resources were shared by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education, as well as the Rehabilitation Services Administration. Playlist input was in collaboration with the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration and the Office of Disability Employment Policy. Playlists 1 and 7 are particularly relevant to adult educators. These two playlists have multiple themes and extensive resources. Playlist 1 is relevant because it provides resources specifically focused on understanding the range of individuals with disabilities who may enroll in adult education programs. Playlist 7 provides resources and information about partnerships focused on working with individuals with disabilities, including education-employer collaborations. Playlist 7 also provides information on American Job Centers, which have the potential to be important partners with adult education programs. These two playlists are the focus of Part 2 of this webinar series. Playlists 2 and 6 are more focused on information for workforce development providers and employers. These playlists do address some very important considerations. For example, one issue for employers is how to invite disability disclosure. And of course, disability disclosure is an important decision for individuals to make, whether their disabilities are apparent or not. I encourage you to take time to give these two playlists a scan for relevant resources, but we will not explore them as part of this webinar series. Playlists 3, 4, and 5 provide specific guidance on inclusive ways of interacting with individuals with disabilities. Playlist 5 on technology access is one of the most resource-rich playlists. There are so many technology applications available to learners with and without disabilities. These three playlists are particularly relevant to adult educators. I look forward to providing you with a brief sampling of these three playlists and what they have to offer in the third part of this webinar series. Playlist 8 provides information about key federal laws that provide protection against discrimination, as well as identify support services and accommodations for youth and adults with disabilities. You are probably familiar with some of these laws that include the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, the Vietnam-era Veterans Readjustment Assistance Act, and the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which now encompasses the Rehabilitation Act. These laws identify policies, processes, and support services aimed at preparing individuals with disabilities for post-secondary education and employment. We encourage you to explore this playlist on your own, which includes user-friendly introductions to key provisions of the laws that affect service providers. Playlists 9 and 10 are focused on resources specifically targeted to youth, students, and veterans with disabilities. If you work with these populations, you will find information tailored to the specific needs of these groups. We wanted you to have an overview of the 10 playlists and to emphasize that each playlist provides practitioner-friendly resources. The intent of each playlist is to provide a sampling of practical resources and tools rather than policy-focused resources. Now let's look at how the playlists are organized. Each playlist has a title and a short description that explains its purpose. Playlists are organized into a set of themes or subtopics. Although these themes are numbered, they do not represent an ordered sequence. We can see that 3 themes addressed in Playlist 1 are how disabilities are legally defined, information on specific disabilities, and consumer-centered design. Playlists also identify the type of resource, such as documents and web pages, videos, communities of practice, and more comprehensive websites with multiple resources. It then provides the title of the resource, a brief description, and the URL. The playlist format is a little like a menu. The format allows for a quick scan of possible information. The playlists are in print and electronic format. If you access them electronically, then exploring specific resources is just a click away. At the end of each playlist, there is a listing of 12 websites with brief descriptions and URLs. Each of these websites houses an array of rich resources to support working with individuals with disabilities. I have listed 6 of the 12 sites on this slide. Take a minute and scan them. Which ones are you familiar with? Okay, so it's time to wrap up this introductory webinar on the WIOA Focus Disability Playlist. I hope you found the brief information provided on individuals with disabilities and WIOA informative. You also now know the playlist topics and how the playlists are structured. There is also a part 2 of this webinar which focuses on playlists 1 and 7 resources. Playlist 1 provides resources specifically focused on understanding the range of individuals with disabilities who may enroll in adult education programs and ways to structure services that build on individual strengths and also accommodate areas of need. Playlist 7 provides resources and information about partnerships focused on working with individuals with disabilities, including education-employer collaborations. Part 3 of this series examines resources from 3 playlists that provide specific guidance on inclusive ways of interacting with individuals with disabilities. The purpose of Playlist 3 is to provide guidance on appropriate etiquette when interacting with people with disabilities. Playlist 4 offers information on how to ensure physical access, including accommodations. And Playlist 5, Technology Access, is one of the most resource-rich playlists. The purpose of this playlist is to present information on relevant considerations that support technology access for individuals with a range of disabilities. We hope that this introduction to the playlist takes you to your own exploration of information. I want to thank you for your time, attention, and motivation focused on working with individuals with disabilities.